A fine evening for civilians to walk and cross, when suddenly the train engineers shout to move because the train got malfunction when the train lost passengers start jumping off the train. The people on the tracks didn't hear the operator. They observed that the train won't stop and the crowd immediately run away from the trail. But the women panicked because the baby stroller got stuck on the trails and she begs for help. People can't do anything, but they yelled that she must get away. But then a mysterious man from the crowd disappeared. The man suddenly stood on the trail and stopped the train with his bare hands, that the cart got suddenly crash from the strength of the mysterious man. When she thought that it's the end of her and the baby, the mother peaked and was speechless that she and her baby is okay from a horrible incident. He saw a man standing in front of her. The mysterious man helped the lady to stand up if she's all right, as the mother stands up and was shocked like they saw a horrifying ghost. The mysterious man has a face of a skull. The man, the protagonist himself, named Zombie, apparently he doesn't know his age or his real name. Though he has a face of death, he has a dream that he could become friends with the human. However, when Zombie was buying eggs in supermarket, he found his subordinate is on the wanted list again. At the same time, 2 reporters were secretly taking pictures. They didn't believe that Zombie has the ability to lift a plane. But the next second, they were stunned. Zombie lifted a truck weight of 10 tons and then jumped and then broke the atmosphere with a truck in an instant.
Zombie finally arrived at his territory. The zombies who saw this scene were very excited. He then came to where his subordinates were gathered and various zombie bosses inside were already getting impatient waiting for him. But when Zombie opened the door for a moment, his subordinates still quickly stood in 2 rows. At this time, Zombie slapped the wanted order on Ah Go's body and said, "Ah Go, what's going on? How did you get wanted by humans again?" Ah Go was sweating profusely and then explained tremblingly that he couldn't control himself when he met humans. At this time Blackie also said, "Although our zombie territory is still expanding infinitely, we have changed several capitals in order to avoid humans." Varmint even proposed the idea of going to war with humans. "It's been so long that my chainsaw is going to rust." But just as Zombie was about to educate them about how terrible humans are, there was a sudden loud rumbling sound from the sky. It turned out that human fighter jets had unknowingly arrived above them and the commander inside was actually a young woman with a heroic appearance. 2 subordinates reported to her. Everything was ready and they could act at any time. The president tilted her head slightly and asked, "Where is the cargo?" It turned out that there was a stunningly powerful heavyweight nuclear bomb on the fighter jet. "Come on, I'm going to level this place in 20 minutes. At this moment, Zombie below also sensed the crisis. Varmint was even more gleaming in his eyes, shouting and wanting to rush up and fight them desperately. But at this time, Zombie stopped him and said, "No, you will become out of control when you get close to humans. You should take the citizens and evacuate here first. As for those humans, let me go and meet them instead." Soon after, some armed trucks also slowly drove into here. Their mission was to search for survivors on the ground. At this moment, the cockpit door of the fighter jet suddenly opened. A fully armed white-haired boy stood tall in the middle. Facing the dense zombies below, he was not panicked at all. Instead, he curved his lips and vowed to kill all the bosses here. At the same time, a man in a white coat was staring at the screen in front of him. "Brother Faye, that seems to be a person from the Extraordinaries Academy. Hearing this, the man's mouth curled slightly and said, "Let's play with them well." After saying that, he pressed a red button hard. Immediately, a cage full of humans fell from the sky, finally landing slowly in the middle of the zombie horde. At the same time, the rescue team also received the desperate distress signal from the humans. Immediately, they tried their best to suppress them slowly with firepower. But at this time, a red-haired girl suddenly screamed, "How can that zombie not die?" Looking in the direction she pointed, they saw 2 zombie cubs hugging each other and shivering. And blocking in front of them was actually our male protagonist, Zombie. Suddenly, a blonde soldier raised a rocket launcher and aimed at the zombie. However, at this time someone reminded the blonde soldier, "Sir, we seem to have bombed the wrong person. This zombie masked man seems to be the recently emerging extraordinary human." The blonde soldier was stunned by what he saw. He had accidentally blown up the wrong person. But as the white smoke cleared, Zombie was standing there unharmed, touching his head with a puzzled look. At this moment, President on the fighter jet suddenly spotted the zombie boss's trail. So she ordered the white-haired boy to go to Zone B and intercept him. As soon as she finished speaking, the white-haired boy immediately leaped from the fighter jet at a height of 100 meters. On the other side, the man in the white robe started his mysterious plan in a certain room. Brother Faye, I didn't expect them to evacuate the civilians. They are not to be messed with. Hearing this, Faye smiled slightly and tilted her head. Let's give them something fun then. The green-haired man nodded immediately in understanding. Then under his control, one of the zombies in the horde suddenly underwent a horrifying mutation in a short while. And his change also caught the attention of Zombie in the distance. But just then, the blonde soldier from the rescue team suddenly sprinted. While Zombie was still confused, he hoisted him up and ran towards his own convoy. He muttered as he ran that he had saved his life. After throwing Zombie onto the car, he hurriedly urged the driver to run faster. And so the zombies' boss was successfully rescued. On the way, the red-haired girl asked him why he always wore a zombie mask. Zombie looked embarrassed when he heard this. He didn't know how to answer. Meanwhile, the other rescue team also ran into trouble. They saw the mutated zombie lift up a bus. Then he threw it at them with great force. Fortunately, the white-haired boy appeared in time. He cut the bus in half with just one slash. The crowd cheered when they saw this scene. Great, it's the president of the Academy's swordsmanship club. We're saved now. Marshall told them to take the civilians away first. He would handle the rest. Just then, the zombie let out a piercing scream, as if it was suffering from great pain. Marshall noticed this and quickly drew his knife. Facing the zombie's attack, he slashed down. The zombie's body instantly cracked with numerous fissures, then exploded with a bang, shattering into pieces. He thought he could end the fight early, but he heard a rush of footsteps, interrupting his sense of victory. Marshall turned his head and looked at the source of the sound. He saw Zombie had quietly walked to the side of that zombie without him noticing. Zombie said, "I'm sorry, I'm too late." When Marshall heard that, he immediately classified him as one of the zombies. Then he raised his knife and slashed at Zombie. But the next second he was stripped naked and hung on a power pole. At the same time, the soldiers on the plane also noticed something was wrong. Oh no, Marshall's health is dropping fast. The president was stunned to hear this. Marshall was actually defeated. Damn it, there are still civilians who haven't gotten out. We can't drop the bomb on them. She gave a slight shake and jumped off the fighter jet. Zombie was baffled by what was happening. Another figure appeared in the air, speeding towards him. It was the commander of this mission. She quickly drew her sword from her waist. And then she slashed at Zombie with her move, White Blade. But the next second, the sword that could cut through anything shattered with a loud crack. President, who witnessed this scene, was incredulous. Zombie, on the other hand, was unscathed. President's eyes widened slightly. What the hell is this thing? She then hastily jumped back and put several meters of distance between them. Zombie looked a bit embarrassed at the woman who suddenly appeared, and quickly explained, "Well, I already apologized earlier." Hearing the zombie speak, President was also shocked. But she wouldn't let go of the enemy in front of her, and immediately pulled out her second sword, coldly saying, "Come on, let me see how powerful you really are." Zombie shook his head helplessly. I said, "Can't you humans listen to me patiently until I finish talking?" Before he finished his sentence, President rushed at him like an arrow. She thought her speed was unmatched, but she didn't expect to miss this strike. She immediately turned 360 degrees and used her ultimate move, Red Blade. Red flashes of light swept across, cutting everything in half that they touched, even the buildings around them. However, under such an attack, Zombie just bent down slightly and dodged it. "Damn it, you're playing with me." The survivors around were almost done evacuating, and even Marshall, who was knocked out by the zombie, was dragged onto the car. The assistant on the fighter jet called President urgently, telling her to come back quickly. But President was fighting with the zombie fiercely, and had no time to care. The zombie was also helpless. Why was this woman so persistent? President had never been able to touch the zombie's edge, and now she was almost going crazy. They chased each other across half of the city. President saw that she couldn't catch up with the zombie, and immediately activated her second form. Her calves suddenly spewed out a lot of white gas, and after charging up, she shot out like a sharp sword. She came to the zombie's back in an instant, and then used her strongest move. The two landed almost at the same time.
Target eliminated.
President thought she had taken care of the zombie. As she was talking to the fighter jet on the radio, a mysterious force was plotting something on the other side. They had even planted a spy in President's team. Just when everyone was cheering for their rescue, the spy on the jet suddenly activated the nuclear bomb launcher. And then he pressed the button without hesitation. With a click sound, the next second, the heavy-duty nuke dropped from the jet. At this point, the spy in the cockpit had been subdued by the other two. When they reported this news to the others, everyone showed a fearful expression, looking at the nuke that was falling fast. President started to panic too. Then she quickly opened the ejector seat and tried to jump back to the jet. But the next second she froze in place. It turned out that her fight with Zombie had drained all her energy. Just when President didn't know what to do, Zombie suddenly appeared in front of her with a flash. Then before she could react, Zombie grabbed her and spun her around on the ground. Then President was thrown into the sky, and finally landed precisely on her jet. It took her a while to come to her senses. Suddenly, she realized with horror that the zombie was still alive. At this point, the nuke was less than 1 kilometer from the ground. However, Zombie didn't seem to have any intention of dodging. He lifted his foot and kicked hard. The ground cracked open around him as the center, and Zombie flew into the air like a sharp sword. For his citizens, he bravely faced the nuke. Just before he touched the nuke, Zombie stretched out his fingers and clenched them. With a bang, he actually smashed the nuke's warhead flat. Everyone who saw this scene showed an incredulous expression. A loud boom echoed through the sky and earth. As a huge mushroom cloud rose up, Zombie completely disappeared into the flames. After a long time, when the flames slowly died out in the ruins, President touched his head and thought, "Oh, I have to spend money to buy clothes again." While Zombie was worried about having nothing to wear, President on the fighter jet started to feel depressed. What's wrong with President? Why is he so gloomy? You better not ask. President fought zombies all his life, but now he was saved by a zombie. That kind of mood would make anyone unhappy, right? But then another subordinate suddenly shouted, "President, you got it wrong." She took the zombie's file and came forward to explain. This guy is not a zombie. He is an abnormal human who likes to wear a zombie mask lately. Hearing this, the girl's face instantly darkened like she wanted to eat someone.